The inverse money system, unveiling the truth. Payments. When we make a payment via a bank transfer, a debit card, or a credit card, we are often led to believe that the bank simply deducts the amount from our account and transfers it to the payee. However, this belief is fundamentally flawed. In reality, when we, as individuals, make a payment, we are actually issuing a negotiable instrument known as a security future. This instrument represents a form of debt that we ourselves create. It's crucial to understand that within this system, nothing is truly paid. Instead, payments are essentially promises to pay, or in other words, debts. As the creators of these security futures, we are entitled to have our loans repaid and our P.E.T. ledger balanced to zero by reclaiming our security futures. Mortgages, credit cards, and loans. The traditional understanding of borrowing through mortgages, loans, and credit cards is that banks are lending us money. However, this perspective is also incorrect. When we borrow, we are essentially issuing a negotiable instrument, once again a security future. This debt instrument is then purchased by the bank from us, essentially putting the bank in debt to us. The curious part is that the bank records this security future both as an asset to themselves and as a liability on our side. This paradoxical accounting practice conceals the fact that banks do not truly lend money or take deposits. In essence, we are the creators of money in this system and have the potential to operate as creditors, ultimately creating financial abundance. Edward Mandell House, private meeting with Woodrow Wilson. In a private meeting between Edward Mandell House and Woodrow Wilson, President 1913 to 1921, a shocking revelation was made. It was predicted that every American would soon be required to register their biological property in a national system designed to monitor and control the population. This system would operate using an ancient method of pledging. Through this method, the people could be compelled to submit to an agenda that would ensure the security of fiat paper currency. Those who refused to register would face the consequence of being unable to work and earn a living. In this way, Americans would essentially become chattel, and the powers that be would hold a perpetual security interest over them, all within the framework of the law of merchants and secured transactions. This complex scheme, known as social insurance, would unknowingly make every American a contributor to a massive fraud, effectively rendering them economic slaves. The background to the fraud. In 1933, President Roosevelt declared the United States of America, in its corporate government form, bankrupt. Subsequently, the governors of all states pledged the full faith and credit of their respective states, including the citizenry as collateral, in exchange for credit loans from the Federal Reserve System. This declaration of bankruptcy and the subsequent pledging of citizens' assets set the stage for a global financial system where the world operates as a collection of bankrupt corporations. The U.S. dollar, serving as the world's reserve currency, is backed by the creative energy of its citizens. Money itself is debt, with a significant portion being promises to pay or negotiable instruments known as security futures. The creation of citizens as corporate entities occurs through the registration of their birth certificates, and these citizens are often referred to as strawmen. These fictional personas are unwittingly introduced into the realm of commerce, with their names displayed in all capital letters serving as evidence of their corporate status. Each certificate of live birth initiates a public estate trust, P.E.T., where the value of an individual's creative and future labor is used to issue a security future or tradable bond. These bonds, backed by the creative energy and labor of citizens, are bundled and sold as securities on the open market, primarily to central banks. Birth certificates, now registered security futures, are identified by Committee on Uniform Securities Identification Procedures, CUSIP, numbers, and the purchaser becomes the holder of title. This process effectively turns every citizen into a surety for global debt and permanent bankrupt debtors. Further complicating matters, individuals inadvertently transform their lives, labor, and property into assets of the government when they receive benefits such as driver's licenses, passports, social security benefits, or other services. This results in the creation of a joinder between the living entity and the corporate entity. Consequently, the corporate state can tax and regulate commerce for all citizens who have not reclaimed the title to their property within the P.E.T. The Social Security number and ownership. The Social Security number, SSN, which doubles as your account number, serves as a lifelong tracking mechanism for the individual whose name appears on the birth certificate. Additionally, the full faith and credit clause in the U.S. Constitution requires states to recognize legislative acts, public records, and judicial decisions from other states within the United States. A choice to make. Now, armed with this knowledge, you face a choice: continue living as a debtor within this system or opt to live as a creditor. The decision is yours.